This is our Bobcat T250 track loader, and we've got a problem with worn out bucket pins. They're worn out on this outside edge badly. What I intend to do is go in with the weld and weld up this inside and then grind it back out to where the pin fits in there solid and it's got harder metal out here on this outside edge. If I don't fix this, the right way to fix it would be replace these bushings. But if I don't fix this to keep it wobbling, it's just going to wire everything that we've done to this right back out. Let's get into it. Well, I've slowly been cutting on it and weld a bead and then cut it away and then grind it flush with the surface. Put that pin in there. If it's solid now, I've still got a few little edges. I know it's not really a permanent fix, but I can cone shape this and get it to, as long as I can get this to go all the way to the bottom in there and make sure the bolt stays tight. Another thing I done, I mentioned this in another video, is I welded the bolt directly to the pin. Now, that's probably not a good idea. It's probably going to weaken it and make it break up in there, but I don't think it will. I'm going to leave that weld on it because a lot of times when you try to take these back out, you reach in there and try to unthread that bolt with a wrench, and this just spins. It's really hard to get to, and if you do get a socket on it, it's usually wallered off and it's hard to get out. So to keep that from happening next time, if it's me or somebody else, this bolt will be welded solid. We'll make sure there's no burrs on this outside edge because this is where the bushing actually rides. You want this part, as I've said in the past, to be permanent. You want it to stay inside that cone, lock permanent, and not spin. That part, I got dust in my lungs, I'm sorry. That part's not supposed to spin. This is supposed to stay solid. But when these bolts break or waller loose, this part starts spinning in there, and that's what wallers these edges out. You just keep putting pins back in it, and where it's wallered out, just keeps wallering back loose and breaking the bolt again. And that thing is hot. I just got done welding it. Even with these gloves on, it's hot. I still got this side over here to do. You can see where we started. How bad that is. That goes all the way back in there, but it's got a big lip around it. I think this side was actually worse because I welded about 1/4 of an inch on this back side. It's still got a pretty big gap. I'm going to put one more bead around it and maybe a little down here. And that's going to be done with that. I'm going to finish it. I've got the same problem. We've got the same problem over here, but it's not nearly as bad. You can put that bush in there, and it, even when it starts catching it, it's kind of loose around the edges. The other side's worse. You can see where it's been banging here. You can put that in there, and you can see, that's hard to tell really, but there's probably a 1/16 of an inch around it. I think when we get it seated all the way in there, it's not going to be a problem anymore. So I'm not going to weld on this. I'm just going to seat these bushes, and that almost goes in without any effort at all. It catches about halfway through. And there's no grease hole to line up. Because like I said earlier, the grease has to push through a cap over here, push through the bushing, which is crazy, to get onto the pin. And then you've got a grease seal here that goes here, and I don't know what I'm going to do to hold that in because I've kind of wallered that out. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm going to get back to it, do a little more welding and cutting, and then jump over here to this side. When I get over to this side, we may video it a little bit, or I might video a little bit of this one. Well, it's in there pretty good, and it's going all the way to the bottom. I think I'm going to stop right there because I think it's going to lock in. It's hard to get out. This outside edge is going to be slightly harder, and I don't think it'll chip. As long as it's solid and the bolt stays tight, I'll have to keep retightening it to make sure that it stays in there snug. All we got to worry about is this part, and that's going. I think that'll be fine. So now I got to repeat the whole thing on the other side and see where that takes us. Okay, I've got it all put together. I got it welded in around the edges. Fits in there good and tight. It's got a little bit of a gap up here, but it's real tight around the bottom. That's hot. That one goes all the way to the back here. And I got this one welded. I need to get the other pin out. You can see where I welded it in and then ground it out. I never could have done that without these little things, these burring tools, deburring tools, I guess you'd call them. They're kind of pricey. It's $40 for just a few of them. I think there's maybe 5 in a pack. That one's still got plenty of edge left on it. And I guess they're for like porting intakes or something, but they cut this steel really good. I cut that weld down pretty good. Over in here, it's not quite as pretty over here, but they're still both good and tight. I've ground all the slag off the outside edge to make it a flat surface. I don't know if I'm going to need bushings yet in between these two sides. We'll find out. But I like these burring tools. We may talk more about these later on. Deburring tools, I guess you could say. Got them off Amazon. They're nothing special. Some kind of Chinesium. But they cut, at least as far as I'm doing here, they cut really well. Because there was a big gap over here on this side. And that goes in there and it's good and straight. Another problem with doing this, if you get one side higher than the other, you'll wind up with a crooked pin. And that's not going to do anything but wear your bushings out in your quick attach. So I think this is a temporary fix, but I think it'll work for a day or two anyway. It'll keep this thing going. Anything's better than what it was. Like I said, I've already got these bushings put in. I've done a little bit of painting on it, but you can see that it doesn't, where I ground off all the flaky paint, you can still see the other paint underneath. I like to sand it all flat with some fill-in sandable primer and then go over it, but it's just a piece of equipment. It's not important that it be that beautiful, but at least it's going to work anyway. It's just a little 110 welder, and I've got it cranked to try to get burn into that metal right up on top. I don't like that, but I guess that'll do. That'll at least keep the bolt locked in. Put an impact on it, it'll probably fly all to pieces, but we're going to go with that. Well, I got the other bushing in the other side. This one's feels like it's going to be a little loose in there. It goes about halfway in. There was paint in the other side, and I was hammering it like it never got in. I'm just going to use the old pin that I welded up and put in there to use it as a hammering device, I guess. I had to heat the outside of that one up to get it to go. Let's see if I can get this one to go. Trying to keep it under the camera. Foot on my wheel here. Barely going. Stuck right there. Let's get this thing. Wiggle, wiggle. Don't like much. I've got that welded to the pin inside there, so it just drives it in. Boy, that one's busted all to pieces where it was flared out. Of course, I hit it a few times. That didn't help either. We'll give it just a little heat. If you don't have one of these hammer heads for your air impact gun, you really need one. I believe it's there. Buried, but I wallered it out so bad when I first took it out, or it wallered itself out, that I don't think the seal's going to go in there. I want to try to fit them. If not, we'll just have to do the best we can with it. Hope it keeps grease. This thing's ready to go together. I'm in the same situation I was in the other day. I don't have a helper. I may try to raise this boom up. What I'll probably do is quit for tonight and pick this back up in the next video. We'll raise the boom up, get this thing over here where we can slide the pins in, and watch the whole thing to go together. Man, I'm so close right now. I'm just afraid to attempt it by myself. This thing's so heavy. But we'll pick it up on our next video. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We need all the subscribers we can get. We do something different every day. Our series we're doing right now is on this old crazy machine here that we're trying to get back to running halfway decent. We got a little bit of paint on it here and there, but most of the paint I put on is over top of cracked or peeling paint, so that ain't very good. I may end up grinding most of it back off. I may end up taking these cylinders off so I can paint behind them and then paint them, make it look a little better. At least we got down there where the steps goes anyway. Got the new step on it, got all the framework straightened out. But join us on our next video. We'll see if we can get this quick attach back on here. It should be ready to go and it should be good and solid. It'll do us anyway for what we use them for. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. Any questions, let us know. Anything you'd like to see us do differently, let us know. We do appreciate it. Stay clean, everybody.